Well, good morning, everyone. Hi, Hannah. Hi, Leah.
Hi. Hi.
It's so good to be with you this morning. And if you are watching the replay, hello to you, whatever time of day it is. We are just hopping on to talk a little bit about my Full Voice Women's Circle. Hannah and Leah have both done the program before, and Scarlett was going to be here as well, but she is a doula and she has a birth this morning. So we're sending out love to Mama and Baby and the whole birth team and loving on you from our video spots. And I thought it would be nice to start with a little centering practice. So, just to kind of get us all grounded if we're needing that, or just centering us together to be in the same energetic space, maybe, even though we're miles apart. So, I would invite you to make yourself comfortable right now. And if you're sitting, maybe even scooch toward the edge of the chair so your feet can be flat on the floor. I'm going to do that too, actually. That feels good. If you're standing or walking, just noticing the contact of your feet with the floor, noticing the places your body is being held and supported. Maybe that's at your sit bones, or if you're lying down, all the way through your back body. And if it feels good, you can close your eyes or drop your gaze to the ground, but you don't have to. It's whatever feels good to you in the moment. So, we're going to take a moment here to just breathe. Perhaps you've already started your day and it's been full of many little things or many big things. Or maybe you're just getting going. Wherever you are in your day, it's nice to take a moment to pause and breathe. Our body does it naturally, it's what our body does. And sometimes it can be helpful to allow ourselves to just notice the breath, the softening of the belly as you exhale, the space the air fills as you breathe in. Maybe even noticing that little lift or pause between the inhale and the exhale. Between the exhale and the inhale. And then deepening that breath, see if you can lengthen the exhale, breathing out a little bit longer this time. Maybe even giving an extra little puff at the end. And then again, in and out with that extra little breath at the end. Maybe even engaging the pelvic floor here, what some might call kegels at the end. Speaking of birth and singing, we engage that pelvic floor during both. And so it can be a nice practice to also bring our awareness to that pelvic floor when we are breathing, meditating. And then even letting out a sigh. Oh, just a nice, easeful sigh, whatever feels good. Soft or loud, high or low. We'll do that two more times. Oh, good. One more. Noticing any sensations in your body, the rumbling of the voice, the vibration of the breath. Maybe even doing a little lip trills just to get the lips buzzing. Um. And then I would like to invite you to call in even in one word, whatever it is you need right now in this moment. Maybe it's not forever, maybe it's not even for the whole day, but just something that you're needing right now in this moment. And I would invite you to not think about it too much. Just the first word, even, or the feeling, image that pops into your head. And if you'd like, you can write it down. And I would invite you to maybe return to it throughout the day. So just taking a moment. And my word is ease. Is that your word, Leah? Yeah, go ahead and unmute yourselves. Isn't that so funny?
Wow. Okay, cool. Yeah, good one. Yeah, I need it today. My goodness.
That's so funny. Oh, Hannah, what about you? Do you want to share yours?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, now you're muted again.
My word was rest. So close.
Yeah.
We're
Isn't
all on the same page
We are on the
today.
same page. I wonder how many other friends out there are needing that today too. Oh. Well, hi. It's so good to be here. So I just want to say a little bit before I start asking Hannah and Leah questions. I have been on a bit of an extended maternity pause, just kind of taking my time, slowly getting back to teaching and singing and being with other people, and since giving birth to my child. And I was feeling like it's just time to be together in circle. I've done some events and a few classes here and there, and I am realizing I really miss being with other women because every time I am, I just want it more. And my friends are like, okay, I really got to go home and sleep, Audrey. And I'm like, no, stay. And so it just tells me that I'm wanting this. And yeah, are you feeling the same way, Leah and Hannah?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, it's just so important to be around women and friends. It's just the energy and support we get from sharing our stories and just communing together is really important for my personal well-being.
same, same. So I thought, maybe now's the time. I'm working on saving up to take my family to Malaysia at the end of this summer. And I feel like, doing what I love in order to achieve that goal just makes sense. So this felt like a good time to invite other women in to be in circle and to sing together, songs that just feel good to sing, to share songs and writings that we have that we feel feel good to share, and to get to know our voices maybe in a different way than we're used to. If we're used to having been in choirs or taking voice lessons, maybe looking at it from a different perspective and approaching the voice in a different way through a lens of healing and self soothing, and then understanding even the technical aspects of the voice and reviewing what's going on in our body and in our breath when we're singing, and how that can carry over into the rest of our lives. Because singing has a lot of healing properties to it, and singing together, it's a whole other level. So, there are going to be weekly circles where we gather together as a group starting April 27th. And then we're going to have some in person, those are on Zoom. And then we're going to have some in person sessions, a soul sing, where we get together and we sing and I'll teach songs. And then we're going to have a day retreat. And that one is big and new, and I'm very, very excited. I just booked my first co-facilitator in that experience, Gianna Crenshaw, who you both know. Gianna's a massage therapist and does sound healing and is a singer-songwriter and just a wonderful person. And so she'll be there with us and on the journey with us too through the Full Voice program. And then I'll be inviting one or two other co-facilitators in to do some group work with us. So that is kind of the general shape of the program, the circle for this spring. And I wanted to hear from Leah and Hannah about what it was like for you when you did the program. So if you would just introduce yourself and then talk a little bit about oh, yeah. Just what you remember from Full Voice and when you did it. We'll just kind of start there. And Hannah, do you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so I took the Full Voice course from you, I think it was last year. And I remember, well, first off, when I think back on it, I just remember the community of women, like we were talking about. Um, Looking forward to the weekly meetings and um, being with other supportive people and just having a good time. And I remember you're facilitating, being so easeful and just, relaxing and, no awkwardness, even though we were trying out some kind of like out of the ordinary things like voice exercises. Um, I was looking back through my notes from the class and I took a lot of notes because that's just how I like to process. You gave us journals at the beginning of the class, and it was a great way to take in information and then save it for later and also reflect on what we were learning. Um, we talked a lot about intuition and finding our voice, whatever capacity that meant for us, finding confidence and just, getting used to what our voice sounds like and having, yeah, being confident to speak out. So it was multifaceted. It was about singing, but also using our voice to present ourselves to the world. So one thing I remember was learning about the body parts that go into singing, and I really loved that. Very fascinating. I feel like I have a better understanding of my own physical body. And I remember doing some tongue exercises for because if I get nervous when I'm speaking in a group or in public, sometimes my voice will close up and it feels like an ache almost in my throat. And you taught us that like sticking your tongue out can actually relax those muscles. So I employ that skill often. Um, Not in front of people, usually try to like go to the side and um, but yeah, it's been a great tool to add to my like life skills toolbox.
That's awesome. And when you find yourself doing that or needing that tongue exercise or to kind of like
Hmm.
relax those muscles, is it in like work meetings or tell us a little bit about what you do and how you use your voice?
Yeah, sometimes before a work meeting, I'll do that. Um, Especially if I haven't been talking to anyone all day, because I work from home most of the time. And so I'll go for long stretches without talking to anyone except for my dog. So I might do some vocal warm-ups before I get on a call. And yeah, I mean, besides just the tongue exercise, there's other vocal warm-ups that I learned from the course. And I feel like I would never have been exposed to that otherwise because I haven't taken singing lessons before. So very useful. I mean, not all of us sing all the time, but we all speak and, yell. and we use our voices, so it's good to know how to do that in a better way.
Yeah, like in a healthier or more easeful way. Huh.
Yeah.
So it sounds like for you, those elements of the vocal exploration and community, and then these little exercises that you can actually apply in your life
Hmm.
outside of singing were some takeaways that you remember.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. Thank you, Hannah.
You're welcome.
Leah, how about you? Tell us a little bit about how you use your voice and then what you remember from full voice.
Yeah. So I do a lot of talking in my work as a therapist, but I also have to do a lot of pausing. And that was one of my takeaways from doing the course is the value of silence, of space, the pause. And so I've continued to use that. I also love to sing. And so I've had, since doing some events with you recently, Audrey, this spring, I've been reminded of what seeds were planted during the full voice course that are like now a part of my life. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that came from full voice. I learned that song in the full voice course. I learned about the sigh breath, like we did the sigh breath in our centering practice. I still use that. I teach that to my clients. I was listening to Mamuse this morning, and that was the song that I chose to sing for everybody at the end, where I also had to learn how to cry while singing, because that song gets me every single time. Um, but I mean, that has been such an ongoing gift to have learned songs from other writers, but Audrey also learning songs that you have written, and getting to sing them and sing them on my own just to help me feel good inside my body, but also being able to sing them in community. That is just like one of the best feelings I think ever. And so just getting to learn those and be able to enjoy them forever has been really nice. Yeah.
That is so cool, Leah. Just hearing from both of you about how these exercises or these songs, that you learned back then, you're like, oh, that's still in my life. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
And what you said about singing community and just how good it feels. I think that's something that I want to highlight that feels really important because it can also be the scariest thing for a lot of people.
Totally.
And that's a question I have for both of you. How much singing had you done before Full Voice, and how comfortable were you with the idea of singing with other people at the time? We were just on Zoom back then, but even still, making sound within the space of your home where there may or may
Yeah.
not be another human around. What was that like for you coming in with the experience you already had?
Um, I grew up going to a church, and so a lot of my experience of singing in the past was with such a large group that my own voice wasn't really, distinguishable. And so I could get away with not singing or singing just a little bit or singing loud and no one could really tell the difference. Um, so hearing my own voice by itself is not something I'm very accustomed to. So that took a little getting used to, but it's something that I wanted, which is one of the reasons why I took the class. Um, and just the support of everyone, you know, the non-judgmental reinforcement of like, everyone's voice is beautiful, even if it doesn't sound like, you know, what we're used to hearing on the radio. But another thing that I noticed was just getting myself and my husband used to the sounds of my voice singing in the house, which wasn't really there before, and it's something I've always wanted, to have a house full of music and have it just be like commonplace to kind of start up singing. And I noticed once I started, then he started to do it more too, which is great. It just makes me so happy. And most of the time it's like jokey, silly type singing, but um, it basically made space for that to be a possibility. And I'm really grateful for that.
That's so cool, Hannah. Knowing your husband, and just picturing you two, singing songs and making noise around the house is just like such a joyful thought.
It is. It's really fun. And it's a really great way to bond and just shake off a hard day. So, yeah.
What about you, Leah? What were you coming into the program with singing wise, and what was that like for you to start using your voice more?
So I grew up, I mean, like Hannah, grew up in church with lots of singing. I did choirs a lot. So pretty structured singing, I'd say, is what I came in with, and not a whole lot of inhibition around using my voice. Um, but my growing edge was whenever we would do some improvisational singing. Um, that when I don't have the structure and I just have to go with my intuition, that's my growing edge. But I've got to say, as intimidating as it is at first to start to just listen and let my body take over rather than trying to think, okay, what note should I sing right now or what timing should I do, to just let it flow. That is, oh, so good. It's like almost the scarier the thing is and you do it, the more the payoff, maybe. That's certainly what it felt like when I would do the improv stuff. Like you'd sing one part and then we could harmonize, or we do the improv game, which terrifies everybody. But it's so fun. It's so fun and playful, and it felt very freeing to do something that has less structure and more intuition, and just where we get to weave in and out of each other. That just felt really yummy and fun. And I want more of that. Hungry for that.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned the improv thing because that's another one that is so scary the first few times you do it. And it's also, like you said, when it's our growing edge, when it's a little bit scary, the payoff is often so great, especially when we're doing it in a safe space with these other women who are there for the same reasons, who are not there to judge a person's voice, but are there to lift each other up and celebrate. And I just got so excited realizing we're going to get to do that improv circle in person this time. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so cool. It's going to be so cool.
It's actually kind of addicting. Like, I'll be on vacation or hanging out. I'll be like, hey, you want to play this game? It's really fun.
We're building a singing culture. That's what comes to me. Hearing Hannah you talk about in your household, and then Leah you talking about sharing it with your clients and with friends on vacation. We're building a singing culture, and the more we show up that way and allow ourselves to be seen and heard, the more we're showing other people, regardless of gender, even regardless of age, we're showing them, hey, this is safe to do. This is okay to do. In fact, it's fun, and it can actually make us feel more connected and better, maybe even about life. Oh, I love it. Love it. Oh, this is so fun. Okay, so we have a couple more minutes. I feel like there were other things I wanted to ask you. Oh, yeah. I think the next thing I was curious about is what you would want someone to know who is interested in the program, but maybe on the fence and isn't sure Maybe they have some hesitations around the commitment or around the singing with other people, or maybe they just don't totally know what they're getting themselves into. What do you wish you had known coming into it, and or what do you feel like you would want someone to know who's seriously considering it?
Well, I don't know how it will be different from in person versus um, on the computer because I can't remember if we muted ourselves sometimes because of like echoing or whatever. But yeah, in person, I think you'll probably get more of like the whole sense of everyone's voice together. But if you're worried about standing out too much or being forced to do a solo or something, it's not that kind of a class. Like you're not going to be put on the spot like, okay, now you've come to 5 sessions, now you have to sing in front of everyone. Um, so I think it's definitely like a supportive community and no one is like it's you're going to be encouraged to grow like the growing edge that you mentioned, but it's not an environment where you'll be put on the spot to be like terrified or uncomfortable. So if that's a concern, it's more like fun and learning and growing and less performing.
Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah. And meeting us each where we are.
Hmm.
Yeah. Thanks, Hannah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would add that I mean there's so much to get out of the program. Um, there's community, there's learning songs, there's learning exercises, there's different ways of using your voice. It is structured, but there's so much room to make it your own experience. Not everybody could make it to every single meeting, and it was okay. Not everybody could stay for the entire meeting, and that was okay. Not everybody had to speak every single meeting, and that was okay. Nobody's, you know, Audrey rules with a gentle hand. Yeah, yeah. So there's not going to be any like forcing you to do things that you don't want to do. Like it really, there's a sense of safety and love and appreciation, and you can take it at whatever pace you want. And participate to the extent that you're comfortable with. And you're not going to be shamed. You're not going to be made fun of. You're not going to be pressured. There will be gentle encouragement. Yes, that's part of the benefit. So, yeah, if you're on the fence, but you've got a little whisper inside of you saying, I'm interested, go for it. Go for it because there's so much to gain. And really, I mean, the things that most people I imagine are afraid of going into something like this, don't worry about it. It's going to be okay.
Trust, right? Trust. Yeah, yeah. Oh, listening to you both, I'm like, oh, I want to join. Oh, wait. Oh, I'll be there. I'll
Me
be
too.
there.
I'm like, oh, I want to do this
Yeah.
again.
Oh, that would be so fun. That would be so fun. Well, so just a quick recap. Thank you, Hannah and Leah, so much, by the way. It's really fun to get to hear, even a couple years after the fact, hear it reflected back and like what's staying with you, because that's my hope is that when people go through this program, it is part of our transformation. It's part of our becoming who we are, right? More fully, and getting to know ourselves in a deeper and different way maybe than we have before. So I'm really glad to hear that that's something you're carrying with you. And yeah, just to kind of recap about the program, if you're still thinking about it and wanting to be part of it, we'll start meeting April 27th on Thursday mornings at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And we meet for 90 minutes as a circle on Zoom. So the nice thing about these weekly groups is that you do get to be wherever you want to be, wherever you have access to a device that can uh, have Zoom on it. And we'll do centering practices, kind of like we did at the beginning of today. And there'll be a topic that we're covering that's kind of presented in a sort of mini lesson. I like to make it as interactive as possible. And I often will have a writing prompt and then songs and vocal exercises and practices. And I like to think of it as as we are building a meal that is our singing ritual. And so we have this whole menu of items we can choose from with starter exercises and then maybe a slightly larger course and then maybe a little sweet treat sprinkled in wherever you want. You can start with your sweet treat for all I care. Sometimes that's nice to do. And we're building this ritual around singing so that it's part of our lives, our everyday lives is the idea. And so my hope is that I'll give you all this taste of all of these items, and you get to choose which ones to take away. And then we have a soul sing in person, a singing circle, and then we'll have our day retreat at the end. And there is an online course hub of materials to support your learning, and where you can watch videos and answer questions and write prompts. And it's not necessary to do those, but they're just a nice supplement to the experience. And I'm playing with the idea of keeping the Facebook group in case people want to have some conversation in between and connect with each other in between, or doing Marco Polo. So you'll be encouraged to connect with each other outside of the weekly circle if you are feeling drawn to staying, accountable, staying in conversation with people throughout the week. And I think that is all you might need to know for now. You can access the sign up for the course on my website, which is audreyvoonmusic.com. And I have it linked right on the front page on the banner, the full voice program. And if you would still like to talk to me one-on-one to decide if this is right for you, or maybe you're interested in one-on-one lessons, you can schedule a discovery call with me. So we'll hop on the phone and we can learn more about each other. Thank you so much, everybody. I would invite us to, as we close this time together, to just take another moment to be with our breath, breathing in that love, and breathing it right back out into the world. Maybe even returning to your word for the day, for the moment. Just so grateful. I am so grateful for each of you, Leah and Hannah, and each of you who are out there watching this video today, being part of this experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Audrey.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful day.
You
You too.
too, soul sisters. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.